our Madan Mohan Malviya Teachers Training Center, Dr. Atik sir, and Ankit sir also, because he is instrumental in making all these things happen. I am also thankful to him for his nice introduction too. Again, I am thankful to my friend Dr. Somani sir and management of Santa Gajanan Maharaj College of Engineering. I am very closely associated with this college also, and I know many of the teachers. Probably we have interacted earlier also at your place also. So with this brief, you can say beginning, let us chalk out what we will be doing in coming almost 3 hours. 3 hours is a reasonably good length of time. Let us make it more interactive session, because monologue will not be really very fruitful, or sometimes we lose our concentration to listening somebody for such a long duration is not easy task. So what we will do, we will have it in two parts. One first part will be of about 1.5 hours plus minus 5 minutes. There we will have some 5 minutes or 10 minutes question answer session on first part also. We will have a break of 5 to 10 minutes as Ankit will permit us. And then again we will continue after 5 to 10 minutes and continue for our second part, which will also be of about 1.5 hours or plus minus 5 to 10 minutes. There also we will have again interactive part at the end. In between also, I will be eager to answer to my best of capability. If any question comes, I know our college, SGBAU Engineering College, is already much ahead in implementing many new reforms, in getting National Board of Accreditation, NAC best possible, going for autonomy. So many of the things are already implemented, and you people may be probably knowing something more than what I also presently know. So please enlighten me wherever you find that my information is not up to date. Please feel free to educate me too also. So that much openness we will keep in today's session. Now, friends, as Ankit sir was also saying, everything ultimately is going towards outcome-based education. So let us also decide what will be the outcome of our this session. So I propose that our learning outcome of this session should be, at the end of the session, we should be able to understand the evolution of the national education policy and pillars on which this policy is based, so that our focus will always be towards achievement or of those you can say pillars on which this policy is ultimately this policy stands over it. Second, our learning outcome, we will try to understand what is the concept of education, types of education, and integration of various types of education envisioned in this policy. So from this angle, we will try to look into the vision of, of this policy statement of NEP. Then in second part, we will try to understand how to find out credits. So probably we may be knowing, but still we will go into the concept of credit in our teaching learning scheme, how this concept of credit should be embedded when we design our teaching learning scheme. Then we will understand various components of qualification framework, various types, national, international, you can say qualification frameworks, their statements, then higher education qualification framework, and finally, the components of curriculum framework considering outcome-based education. So on this line, we will be working, and this, let us keep those as our learning outcomes of our today's session. So as we are saying, we will begin with our first concept, that is what is expected in, you can say, national education policy, how this policy got evolved, and what are the domains of this policy. So within few minutes, we will understand evolution of NEP, so that Once evolution we understand, one thing will be clear from our evolution, historical evolution, that it is a policy which is not decided overnight or because there were some change of government or something like that. The policy's evolution started when our last policy of national education, which was implemented somewhere in 1985-86. That time itself, the starting of National Education Policy 2020 started. In the way, when 1985, our last education policy was implemented, the Washington Accord came into picture, and that is why National Board of Accreditations and those processes started coming. What was the main feature of Washington Accord? It was for education in general and particularly for technical education like ours. Benchmarking, measurement, and standardization of parameters of local education with global education. So all those signatory countries of Washington Accord, they were required to spell out the parameters, measure them, and match them with international standard. So the process of aligning ourselves globally in respect of education started immediately somewhere in 1987 also. In 1992, we as a country adopted globalization as our national policy under liberalization, privatization, and globalization. It was not only for economy. Education was also one of the sectors which was the part of globalization. So this Washington Accord was further, you can say catalyzed as we have adopted the policy. Somewhere in 1997, Brundtland Commission came into this, the fore of United Nations Organization. And that was about, you can say, sustainability and sustainability development. The document known as Our Common Future really shook the whole world. And every country, almost 175 countries were are signatories of that document. Everybody has accepted that the concept of development is to be renewed, it is to be relooked, and the sustainability and sustainable development is only the future. That was accepted. And once that document was accepted, then somewhere in 2004, another, you can say, Johannesburg Declaration or Bonds Declaration came into picture, wherein the onus of implementation of sustainability and sustainable development was put on the shoulder of education in general and technical education in particular. That is how the technical education in particular and education in general was required to be reoriented so that 17 goals of sustainable development were ultimately implemented by the year 2030. That is why in this policy, at number of places, we find the mention of Sustainable Development Goal, particularly Sustainable Development Goal 4.0, which talks about quality education. Then IT revolution also contributed a lot since access and equity was important part of sustainability. How to reach unreachable. So IT and IT enabled services were in forefront. So education sector also adopted IT and IT enabled education mechanisms so that the goals of, you can say, access and equity can be achieved. So these all milestones we will find reflected in framing the policy of National Education Policy 2020. So, as I was saying, it got evolved from 1987 to 2013-14 around, wherein Kasturi Rangan sir, you can say, presented the draft of this policy. Ultimately, it was accepted by Government of India and it came as a policy in 2020. So one thing we have to understand at this position that this policy is a evolved document. It has got milestones of all national as well as international commitments and events. And those are reflected, and those goals have to be achieved through the mode of education in general and higher education, technical education in particular. Now, once those, you can say, milestones are considered, then you will find that the policy is based on 5 pillars: access, equity from sustainability, quality, of course, SDG 4 as well as Washington Accord, affordability, again, sustainability, and most importantly, when we talk about outcome based, that has come out from 5th pillar, accountability. The question comes, whose accountability? So you will find all stakeholders are made accountable because everything is made outcome based. So certain targets are to be fixed. The whatever achievements, attainments are there, they have to be measured. If there is a gap, it has to be given as a feedback, and it has to improve so that expected outcomes are attained. So that cycle will involve the process of accountability. So education sector probably first time has heard this word accountability for their transactions. So we have to ensure that whatever we implement, this they are directed towards these 5 pillars. So once that you can say evolution and you can say pillars of NEP we have understood, we know that this policy has got many parts, 4 parts. So part one is school education. In today's discussion, we will be talking about part two, that is higher education. So let us go into policy part of it. What is the foundation? What are the important highlights which we should keep in mind before we proceed for our today's interaction? The first and foremost, the word in national education policy. So let us pick the word education, then national, and then we will talk about policy. So the concept of education, definition of education is very clearly stated in this policy. And once we understand the concept of education, we are education provider. It means really speaking, what is that we are expected to do? Students are taking education. It means the learner is really what is expected from the learner. These two, when we are provider, what is expected from us, and for the learner, what is expected from them to understand. So to understand this, it is important we should understand the concept of education. So we will deal with concept of education for a few minutes. Another thing which is specified in this policy is about domains of education. And third is types of education, because this policy is aimed of removing the walls between different types of education, and it is expected that the education becomes multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and integration of various types, various domains are expected in the concept of education. So let us see, first thing, what is education as looked into this policy. Now, the reference is taken for all Western thoughts as well as Indian philosophers too. So the what Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, and all other Western thinkers have thought of education, that is also considered. But you will, one thing everybody we will appreciate, it talks about bringing out of ideas which are already latent in mind of every man. So Socrates, similarly, you can say Plato has also said, Aristotle has also, you can say, talked about education in this fashion only. But finally, even the dictionary of education talks about aggregates of all processes, abilities, attitude, and other forms of behavior which has got practical value in society. So considering all these concepts of education, this policy has finally accepted the concept of education as Swami Vivekananda ji has given. It states that education is manifestation of divine perfection, which is already within an individual. So, friends, one thing immediately once this definition is accepted, this concept is accepted as a policy, our role becomes from preacher to a facilitator. Now, what is the concept of education which we have to keep in mind? That because we teach, so somebody learns, that is not true. Already there are perfection within every individual. There are certain qualities which are hidden in every individual, and our process is the which we call it as education should help in manifestation of those already existing qualities. So our role is now more of a facilitator than a preacher. And learners, it is the, you can say, learner's part that he will help himself or herself to take out whatever perfections are there within individual with the help of the education provider, that is the facilitators. So this is the concept of education, and henceforth you will find that all credit system, curriculum framework system, outcome based system, they are learners oriented, and we will be the facilitator. So what is the basic change because of adoption of this definition is coming in future is that we, the education provider, will have to help for manifestation as a facilitator, and which type of perfection in which area, that is also given in this policy, that it is the integration of knowledge, attitude and skills. So one thing is very clear, we have to facilitate individual to acquire knowledge, to develop attitudes, as well as develop skills which are required for the society in which a person lives. So our job is now the integration of these, you can say, attributes of knowledge, attitude, and skills, and helping individual to manifest this in a useful form of the society and individual. So when we talk about accountability, remember we will be accountable for facilitating the learner in terms of knowledge, attitudes, and
There seems to be some disconnect, sir.
Yes, sir. Not audible.
Am I audible, sir? Hello, am I
Yeah.
audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
You
sir.
are audible now. You are
Yeah.
Yeah.
audible now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You
Yes.
are
But your
audible.
slides are not visible.
Okay, sir. I will again check it. Is it visible, sir?
No, no, not yet.
Okay.
You are on the screen. Your slide is not on the screen.
Okay, just a minute. Is it now visible?
Yes.
Yeah, 3 domains.
Okay, right, sir. Right. Yeah. So we were talking about 3 domains. So first is cognitive, second is psychomotor, doing and skilling, and third is affective. So after understanding the concept of education, we should understand now domains of education. So we will be, you can say, imparting education or developing students, or you can say facilitating their education in 3 domains: cognitive, psychomotor, and affective. This cognitive domain, as we know, it is about information, understanding, thinking, and knowledge. And we people are doing excellent thing in this domain over many years. Now, many of us may be knowing, as per Bloom's taxonomy, it has got levels again in this domain: remembering, comprehension, application, analysis, evaluation, and synthesis. We in higher education will be more about, you can say, this comprehension to synthesis, memorizing the thing, recalling the previous learned material should is the very basic, and we should have minimum of this component while understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluation, and finally formulating new structure is what is expected when we go from as we go from level to level. So one more thing we are understanding through this, that we are entering into competency based and level-based education. In this cognitive domain, we will be talking about two components of this cognitive domain. One is descriptive part, knowing that is something more about truth of the world, principles of the world, theories of the world. But more than that, what is more important is procedural knowledge. That is knowing how. So it is about embodied abilities like problem solving, reasoning, critical thinking, effective communication. So in knowledge domain, cognitive domain, we will be operating with either descriptive knowledge, and more emphasis will be on procedural knowledge, and that too in the higher area. As per Bloom's revised taxonomy, we will be operating minimum in bottommost, that is remembering, but it should be more as we go from level 1 to higher. Say our first year is level 4.5, second year is 5. We will come to that later on. But as we marches on the higher levels, we will go more from understanding and to creating. This is what we have to walk the path in terms of cognitive domain. Now, second domain is about doing, skilling. In engineering education, we definitely are implementing right from beginning itself equal on psychomotor domain, that is doing skills also. So here they are also, but for non-professional courses like humanities, commerce, and science, now they will have to equally deal with second domain, that is psychomotor domain as well. This domain, as per Bloom's taxonomy, is also having 7 steps: perception, set, guided response, mechanism, complete overt response, adoption, and organization. So the get, set, go, they will be more applicable for school education, but for we the higher education, our levels will be from guided response to organization, that is creating new pattern. First is imitating and practicing the skills in discrete states. say first year practicals or some of second year practicals, we may that they may be having focus on guided response. But as we go to 7th semester, 8th semester, it should be more on organization, that is creating new pattern rather than only practicing the skills already acquired. So we have to march on level-based education, and levels for psychomotor domain should also be kept in mind when we move ahead. This psychomotor domain talks about two things: capacities or skills and competencies. These capacities and skills are the abilities needed to be consistent and repeatable for different materials, different numbers, and different situations. So when we impart education in psychomotor domain, we have to ensure students imbibe the skills which they should be able to exercise, show consistently and repeatably in different situations, working with different materials or different numbers. So this is the mandate given to us in terms of skill domain. And competencies are learning achievements which are observable and assessed systematically. So competencies are attained over the period of time. Therefore, interim marker, what is known as learning outcomes, are important to measure intermittently. So learning outcomes will be measured intermittently, and ultimate long-term basis, what is expected is student imbibe the capacities or skills. So second domain also we should be able to understand very clearly. There are again steps in this second domain also. Third domain, for which definitely Shega Engineering College is fully aware of this third domain also, that is values and dispositions. As per NEP, equal emphasis is to be given in affective domain as well. So we will be giving equal emphasis on cognitive domain, psychomotor domain, and affective domain. These values and dispositions are strong motivation, you can say, which really lead to effective action in addition to knowledge and capacity. They are the sources of motivation. What are values? Values are beliefs which states us what is right and wrong. And what are dispositions? Dispositions are attitude and perception that form the basis for behavior. In 21st century, when our students are no more, you can say, citizens of any country or only any, they are not only for Maharashtra or India, they are global citizens. So it is more important they have proper behavior, attitude, and perceptions. So for to imbibe those qualities, the affective domain, you can say, is to be effectively imbibed in the student. Again, there are stages in this domain also, such as selectively attending to stimuli, responding to the stimuli, attaching values or worth to something, conceptualizing the values and resolving the conflicts, and integrating the value into value system and controlling the behavior. So as the student progresses from lower level of say 4.5, say below up to 4 is 12th standard, and above 4, that is 4.5, is higher education. And as the student progresses from level 4.5 onwards, the inception of value system, disposition system, from receiving to internalizing, has to be imbibed, and it should be reflected in the form of attainment. So this domain has also, you can say, various stages, and we have to ensure that those things are imbibed in our student. So just let me look back for a minute. So we have understood how NEP got evolved, what are various milestones which are reflected in the framing of this policy. We have understood the pillars on which this policy is framed, and those pillars are based on the in the evaluation process. Now, in the policy, what is the concept of education envisioned in this policy that we have seen? We have seen domains of education, which are envisioned in this policy, and integration of those three domains means getting educated. So our role as an education imparter is we have to facilitate the process of imbibing. You can say domains, three domains: cognitive domain, psychomotor domain, and behavior or value domain, affective domain. So this is what means the education, and our job, our role as an education provider is to imbibe stage wise, level wise qualities of the knowledge, skills, and behavior, so that the students are able to manifest their hidden qualities, divine qualities, and work in the society. So once we have understood this concept, this policy clearly gives idea about present various types of education, because this policy also expects integration of various types of education. That is what they call it as multidisciplinary or holistic education. So as per this policy document, the types of, you can say, education are, say, academic education, which focused on information and knowledge domain only. So since up till now, the may not be applicable to engineering education, but for overall higher education, the education was focusing on this type of, that is academic education. It was focusing on cognitive domain only. Now it is expected that vocational education also gets integrated into academic education. So what is the concept of vocational education as per this policy? For a particular occupation in the economy, particular work situation in the economy, when the complex of knowledge, attitude, and skills are provided or imbibed into the student for the specific work situation, then that type of education is called as vocational education. So in case of vocational require, it gives a requirement of having defined set of practical competencies in the specific areas of work. Of course, three domain: knowledge, skills, and attitude, but only limited to that field of work. Now it was a complete different basket of vocational education and academic education in present system. NEP envisages integration of academic education or mixing of vocational education into academic education. Of course, third type of education is what we provide, that is professional education. And here it is particularly important, it is the education for importance of public purpose. Hence, it is the education for practice. So it involves critical interdisciplinary thinking, discussion, debate, research, and innovation. This concept of interdisciplinary thinking required is looked into, and even professional education is also made multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary, because that is the requirement of professional education. Because it is very clearly stated that professional education should not take place in isolation of one specialty only. So technical education is, of course, the part of professional education. So this policy has taken cognizance of various types of education. Now, after considering this factor, that is all milestones, pillars, concept of education, domains of education, types of education, the policy statement is very clearly defines what is purpose of education. So this is where our accountability will come into picture. The policy states that education should enable individual. See, we are enabling, we are facilitator, we are enablers to study one or more specialized areas of interest. Remember, along with, you can say, the career requirement, the requirement of interest of individual has also to be kept in mind. And that should be one or more specialized area should be taken in deep, simultaneously development of character, ethical and constitutional value, and imbibing 21st century capabilities across various range of discipline, including science, social science, art, humanities, languages, in professional, technical, and vocational subjects. So this is what is the vision or concept of education as per NEP policy. It gives also the purpose. See, here very important, what is the mandate given to us, the education provider? It states that it must, means education system must prepare students for what? Number one, for more meaningful and satisfying lives. So we have to aim for providing meaningful and satisfying lives for our students. Now, this meaningful Arthapurna Jivan, it is Sukhi Jivan, Samadhani Jivan. The word successful is not used. The word satisfying and happy is used, and more important is meaningful. So our accountability will be whether our alumni are leading meaningful lives or not, because we have to prepare them for that. Second, prepare students for their work roles. What does it mean? Even though student may be in first year and he may come into the sphere of economy after 4 years, 6 years. So when the student who is presently in first year goes to the job role, we have to understand what type of job role the student will have to do when he goes to life of economics. And we have to prepare our student for their future job roles. So we will be accountable whether our students are prepared for their future job roles or not. So the students' job roles, so after what type of job roles will be there, 6 7 years hence, we have to keep in mind, and according to their requirement, after 6 years hence, we have to prepare the student, we have to facilitate their learning accordingly. And third, we have the mandate is we have to prepare student for their economic independence. So where will be our accountability? What is the clear mandate given to be the education provider? We have to prepare student for three things: their meaningful life, their future job roles, and their ability for economic independence. So whole of our education sector will be aimed, our outcome are these three things. So that we will have to keep in mind when we design the syllabus, when we discharge the syllabus, when we assess the or examine the student, our focus should be on these 3 points. This is what the policy says. And purpose of education system is also very clearly given. It aims in producing engaged, productive, and contributing citizens for building equitable, inclusive, and plural society as envisaged in our constitution. So constitutional values, human values are to be imbibed, and we have to contribute in this area also. And very clearly given, ultimately, knowledge is deep-seated treasure, and education helps in manifestation of perfection already within individual, which is already there within an individual. So this is a clear-cut policy statement. The concept of education is, you can say, manifestation, and that manifestation in three domains. It should be in 21st century skills, in character and cognitive. So this is what is aim given to us, and this is what is the purpose given to us. Accordingly, the vision is also given. So development of vocational capacities will go hand in hand with academic or other capability. And we have to help to attain sustainable development goal 4.4. The access and equity has to be increased. Reforms, what are the important reforms? The you can say social status hierarchy will go. We will not consider vocational education or any other education as secondary to academic education. Presently, academic education is considered to be on top, followed by vocational and other types of education. But now there will not be such hierarchy. It will be an integrated part of education. So integration of vocational education into mainstream education will be the main reform, and it will start from all things. This vocational education can be given on our own or in partnership with industry or NGO. This is another reform which will be there. Even vocational education can be given on ODL mode as well. This another reform will be education must move towards less content. See, so our, you can say, thinking in terms of forming the syllabus or curriculum will have to be changed. Our general tendency of BOS is to stuff many things, but NEP gives us directive that go towards less content but more towards learning, and that should ultimately lead to critical thinking and problem solving, creativity. It has to be multidisciplinary, and it must adapt and absorb new material and changes in the field. So that should be the approach of providing education. And we have to ensure that foundational capacities as well as higher order capacities. That is why we have seen the Bloom's taxonomy: critical thinking, problem solving, social, ethical, emotional capacities, values, and dispositions. These things will be integrated, and everything has to be in higher order. We have seen the, you can say, stages of each domain. So we have to ensure that we operate in the higher orders of all these three domains. Another important reform will be skilling. So providing 3 months, 6 months short-term skilling courses depending upon the market situation. Presently, UGC has published a report wherein it is given that the present 85 million jobs will go because present skill sets will not be useful in coming 3 4 years, but 97 million new jobs will be created. So such situation, dynamic situation will always be there. So NEP expects continuous skill analysis, skill gap analysis has to be done by higher education institutions. And as per the changing demand, we have to provide short-term skilling programs along with our regular university curriculum. And this short-term skill development program can be designed and developed by individual HEI. Of course, we will have to get, you can say, approval from in our present system from our authorities, but it should be of at least 12 credits and maximum of 30 credits. So it will be, focus will be on practical learning and market related skill gap analysis. So this is what, and there will be short-term certificate courses. We can run it in partnership with industry or finally employer. They have to be work integrated training or other models. That is why one semester internship or apprenticeship is being made mandatory. So work integrated training is also major reform. Apprenticeships will be incentivized. So presently, you know that UGC had come out with apprenticeship embedded degree program, AEDP, and it is to be implemented for all courses. We, the professional technical education, are already doing apprenticeship or internship, but that will be mandatory even for academic stream people such as BA, BCom, BSc people as well. And this, they can be of 3 months to 6 months. So this is what is expected in, you can say, foundation, you can say, of NEP. So if I just take back quickly what we have learned, what is the learning outcome we have set for first part. So we have understood how this national education policy got evolved since 1987 to almost 2020. Mainly draft was, you can say, submitted to the government somewhere in 2014 only. So the process took place. It's not year or two you can say years work, but it is a evolved document, and it comes out from global and national events and global and national commitment such as sustainability, Washington Accord, national policy of globalization, so and IT revolution. So everything is, you can say, considered, and the policy is evolved. Second thing, we have seen that this policy is based on 5 pillars, which in turn find their roots in 1987 to 2010 all events. The pillars talk about equity and access, very important, and that is the basic requirement of sustainability goal, achieving all those 17 sustainable goals. So equity and access, that is why mode of learning will not be henceforth important. It will be the attainment of learning outcomes. Then quality is another important pillar, and important something new for education system is accountability. Now we have understood what is the concept of education in this policy. It will be in 3 domains, and helping students to manifest their knowledge, cognitive part, skilling, and behavior part is what the education means. So it is the integration of knowledge, skill, attitude, behavior, value system, and that is what education means. So when we impart education, it means we have to ensure all 3 domains: cognitive domain, psychomotor domain, and affinitive domain. That is knowledge domain, skill domain, values, behavior domain. Equal or weightage, that way focus is given on all these 3 domains. That is what we have to understand. It is not only about 3 domains, it is also the levels of these domains. Since we are in higher education, school education may operate in lower levels of the all 3 domains, but we in higher education will have to operate in higher levels. So we are moving towards level-based education and competency-based education. So this is what we have understood, and mandate given to us that we have to always keep mind that we have to prepare students for their future job roles, for their happy and meaningful life, and to make them economic independent. So, keeping these 3 mandates in mind, we have to develop this, you can say, our curriculum. We have to impart our curriculum, and we have to ensure attainment of those attributes through our assessment, evaluation, and examination. Now, once these basic concepts are very clear to us, this is the part of word education. Now, what there is another important word, that is national, attached with it. What does it mean? It means throughout the nation, and through nation, it will be aligned with global standard. So our journey when we say we are implementing NEP, what does it mean? That we have started our journey from local to national and national to global. So local to global is the journey which we will be marching when we say we are implementing NEP. That is why the word national comes into picture. Another meaning of the word national means that whether we are located at Shegaon or at Mumbai or Chennai or Delhi, anywhere, there will be certain nationally accepted standard parameters. We will be flexible, subject to operate under those nationally decided parameters. And those nationally decided parameters are called as frameworks. And you will find when we go to our framework part that those frameworks are aligned with international or global standard. So in the journey of from local to global through national, there are certain things which are common for everybody in nation and which are aligned with global. So what is, are we, our is our autonomy going? Are we not getting freedom to, you can say, decide the things at our own end? Flexibility is there, freedom is there, but that flexibility and freedom is to remain within certain framework. Something like constitution of country. We can do anything, but we cannot go beyond constitution. So constitution is the framework for every citizen of this country. Similarly, for we the education stakeholders, let it be provider or learner, we will have to operate our liberty, our flexibility, freedom within certain 3-4 frameworks. So this is what is the part one to come up to understand a step before our primary requirement to understand the framework. So let us take few minutes break to solve if any question, if anybody is having more knowledge in this fundamental part of it, primary part of it. We will have interactive session for 5 minutes if required. Then we will go on framework part. Any question, anything anybody will like to add? Because Jha sir is there, so many learned people are already there. So they may be probably knowing much more about philosophy on which this framework of NEP is based. So if anybody will like to add or know from me, I am ready. For 2-3 minutes we will wait, or we will go for our next.
Sir, may I?
Please, sir.
Because you quote my name time
Yeah,
without number.
yes, sir.
In management, we
Yes,
have been talking
yes.
that gone are the days when the approach used to be KSA, knowledge, skill, and attitude.
Okay,
Now it has been reversed. It is
okay.
called as ask concept,
Right.
ASK,
Yes,
attitude first,
yes.
followed by skill and knowledge.
Very good. Very
And
true, sir.
that is where they say if attitude is right, everything is right.
Very true, sir.
So the
Yes.
primary focus has to be, and I am sure everybody will agree that in academic institutions of our type or other type, we are basically struggling at this stage with attitude of everybody. I don't say only attitude of students,
Right.
attitude of everybody. So if
Right.
attitude is right,
Yes.
the skill will follow, the knowledge will follow.
Yeah.
You talked about the job role, you talked about the economic independence, you talked about manifestation, everything will follow. So the focus has to be on building positive attitude first. That is what was my submission. Thank
Very.
you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So I am very thankful to sir. He is endorsing that even though we will be operating in 3 domains, what we mean by education provider, we will be helping, we will be facilitating. But as per sir's, you can say, latest knowledge, behavior affirmative domain should first, everybody should keep in mind that the basic foundation for getting other 2 domains is the third domain, that is affinitive domain. So values, dispositions, attitude, behavior. And I also do agree with sir's observation that if they are properly tuned with, automatically their receptibility towards getting imbibing skills and knowledge comes. So thank you, sir. Should we move for our second part?
Sir, I am Trikal here. I have just one small query.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Sir, as you said that there is a 1 semester apprenticeship compulsory,
Yes.
right? So it was started in COEP in 2004, I think so. So it was for last semester, that is an 8th
Yes.
semester. So
Yes.
would you suggest in the last semester or in between the course?
Sir, there are 2 mechanisms. In case of engineering, they have very clearly mentioned 7 or 8. Our GR also states it.
Okay.
For other than engineering, since we are talking about overall higher education, I will like to explain what is provided in non-professional part of it. For they have, UGC has very recently come out. Earlier in 2022, there was one document Now for 2024 also, new document has come. Earlier, it was called as Internship Oblique Apprenticeship Embedded Program. Now they call it as Apprenticeship Embedded Program. I will first tell what was there in Internship Oblique Apprenticeship Embedded Program. It was expected that some of the student, it was not mandatory for every student, number one. For some of the student, they can take internship oblique apprenticeship intermittently or at stretch in one semester, and it was for about 12 credits or so. And those 12 credit apprenticeship can be at stretch in one semester in their fifth or sixth semester, or after third semester, fourth semester, intermittently. Both were allowed. Now, in case of apprenticeship embedded degree program, the document which UGC has released, and every university, our university is also going ahead with it. It's, you can say, regulation is under process. There also, it clearly mentions MOU with sector skill council or industry or corporation. First requirement, tri-party agreement. Second requirement, we have to keep Board of Apprenticeship in loop along with UGC for implementation of this. Again, it can be of one final semester or say fifth or sixth semester or 4 years undergraduate course, 7 or 8 semester, one whole semester is preferred, because if the student is there for complete one semester or 6 months, the government of India, probably government of Maharashtra also, or industry is likely to give stipend to the student. So full one semester apprenticeship will entail student to earn stipend, while intermittent it will not be useful. So this is how two documents, one of 2020 and another document of 2024 have come from UGC and other statutory bodies. And for engineering program, our GR clearly specifies 12 credits out of 20 credits internship for whole semester, and remaining 8 credits have to be earned through online mode of learning. Means if every student may not be able to get internship in 8th semester itself, so flexibility is given, but they say that it should be given in final year and it should be of 12 credits. So one semester is of 20 credits, so 12 credit will be internship. And in this document, evaluation of internship, the methodology, the how to give internship, what should be the component, what should be knowledge component, what should be experiential learning component, very clearly it is mentioned in that document. So one thing is very sure, henceforth, more of experiential learning will be there in any type of program, let it be non-professional program or professional program. Experiential learning will dominate over classroom or academic learning. Is it clear, sir? Means to
Yes,
some
sir.
extent?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because in COP has started, that's a sandwich kind of the course, which was compulsory in the 8th semester only. So there are so many issues. But now it becomes more flexible. It can work out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes. Even, sir, online internship also sometimes they permit, but expected is that at the workplace students should study. So it is more, and it has got all the components. Even in internship, knowledge component is also there, skill component is also there, actual hands-on is also there, behavior part is also there. So domains are all considered. It's not that complete 6 month student will only and only be working on hands-on. The related theoretical part is also expected to be. So general education component and skill component. It will be blend of both domains, even in internship program itself also.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
So let us go for, you can say, introduction of various framework. Then we will take tea break for 5 minutes after 20 minutes, and then remaining 1.5 hour session we will continue. So now once we have understood the foundation part of NEP, let us go to the implementation part of NEP. So there are mainly 3 types of framework envisaged in implementation. The instruments which have come out for implementation of NEP talks about credit framework, qualification framework, and outcome-based education based on LOCF, that is Learning Outcome-Based Curriculum Framework. It is abbreviation-wise called as LOCF. So we will be discussing about 3 types of framework. Now, one thing we have to understand at this point, that all of us, irrespective of the type of institution, location of institution, these frameworks are common for everybody, and everybody has to ensure we have to operate, but with flexibility, with freedom, but we cannot cross the framework given in these instruments. The first document is National Credit Framework, NCRF. It is published, modified part in April 2023. And you will find that all our statutory bodies, UGC, AICT, Ministry of Education, everybody is involved in forming this document. So this is a very high level committee comprising from UGC, AICT, and all other, you can say, statutory bodies related with education. So nobody, whether his institution is UGC regulated or AICT regulated, everybody will have to follow this national credit framework. Now the basic principle of this framework is that credits are function of achieving desired learning outcome. Now, desired learning outcomes, its achievement. So these learning outcomes have to be specified, measured, and ensure that they are achieved. Then only credits can be given. Let it be for a program, let it for a course, let it be for a training. So credits are for any program, for any course, or even for training. So for anything, any activity related to education, credits can be earned, but it should be only on achieving the desired learning outcome. And this achievement has to be established or stamped only after successful assessment. So these are the 3 important words attached with the credit. So learning outcome should be there. It should be for certain anything, program, course, or training, and assessment, and successfully passing that assessment, showing demonstration of attainment of those outcomes. These are the 3 important parts. Once these 3 are there, then only credit can be earned. Now, from where credit can be earned? So the components of dimensions of learning are by virtue of academic education, by virtue of vocational training education, or virtue of experiential learning education. So wherever learning happens, so let it be through NSS or Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, like social outreach program, let it be through cultural program or sports program, let it be through skilling program, let it through some training program, let it through experiential like project, or you can say internship or field visit, or let it be through theoretical or laboratory learning. So wherever learning happens, through that the credits can be earned. Now credits are related with learning hours and not with marks. And those learning hours and credits are related with each other through the international best practice. As I was saying, everything is aligned with international practices. So what does it mean? the number of credits per year should be minimum 1200 learnings national hours, and then 40 credits will be there. So additional credits can also be earned. See, everywhere credits are to be earned. They are not to be gifted. So minimum 1 year. See, earlier what we say presently is that one academic year means 2 semesters. Is it, will that definition remain? Answer is yes. So one academic year can have semesters, 2 semester, trimester. So that flexibility is there. One academic year means 180 teaching days presently. Will it be there? Answer is yes. So one academic year will be of presently, as we are following 2 semesters, and it will be of 180 teaching days. Additionally, now one academic year means 1200 learning hours. So unless we ensure 1200 hours of learning, we cannot say student will earn 40 credit. What is the takeaway for us? Okay, see, for one semester, if I talk, one semester will be of minimum 600 learning hours. So one semester will be of minimum 90 teaching days. One semester will have minimum 15 learning weeks. So in terms of hours, 600, in terms of days, 90, and in terms of weeks, 15. So per week learning hours will be 600 upon 15, that is 40. So what is the takeaway for us? Our takeaway is when we design teaching learning scheme, it is about weekly hours, contact hours, or when we prepare our timetable, which is also weekly timetable, we have to ensure that total of learning hours should not be less than 40. If our academic calendar shows 15 weeks in a semester, if our academic calendar shows 17 to 18 weeks, then it will come down to 35. You will find our government resolution GR also states that weekly learning hours should be minimum 35. Considering 17 to 18 learning weeks, as per credit framework, if learning weeks are 15, then weekly learning hours should not be less than 40. The takeaway, please check our university teaching learning schemes. If under that contact hours, number one, teaching scheme has to be changed as teaching learning scheme, because it is no more teaching important, it is learning important. So our scheme itself is not teaching scheme, our scheme is learning scheme. And our LTP, those are not teaching, those are contact hours. So engagement hours. It is not, in no way it will disturb our teaching load, etc. But let us have focus as a learning. Everything is on learning, and credit is connected with learning hours. So total contact hours or engagement hours generally in our case are 28 to 32. Minimum 28, maximum 32. So one row we should add in our teaching scheme, make it teaching learning scheme. Add other learning hours. What are the components of learning hours? Home assignment is learning hour. Whatever class test we conduct, those also come under learning hour. Self-learning also comes under learning hours. Engagement hours are 28 to 32. Let me call it 30. But below that, one row should be there. Self-learning or other learning hours. Our academic calendar is 15 weeks, I am considering, and our engagement hours are 30. So we should add other learning hours 10 and make it weekly learning hours as 40. Show that academic calendar is having 15 weeks. If calendar is of 17 weeks, show here 35. Our GR states 35. but that 35 should be get reflected in our teaching learning scheme. This is the important takeaway from National Credit Framework. Understand what comes under learning. So there are 10, 15 learning ways, and the learning can be done through home assignment, through experiential learning, through field work. Even assessment is also considered to be a part of learning hour. But as per credit framework, minimum learning hour per semester has to be 600, and for 600 learning hours, credit which can be earned are 20. That is why our semester schemes talk about 22 minimum and 22 maximum credits. From where that figure of 20 or 22 has come? It has come from this National Credit Framework. So what is the flexibility? We can change our subject to subject learning hour, but total learning hour must come quickly as 40. We can change credit theory something, experiential something, some course determinants something, vertical something, but total credit per semester should not be less than 20 and should not be more than 22. So within 600 learning hours and credits of 20 to 22, that much flexibility is there. What is common for nationally for everybody? For everybody common is semester learning hours has to be minimum 600, yearly learning hours has to be 1200. So when I say one year, one academic year, NEP says 1200 learning hours or 42 minimum 40 credits. So speaking a language of one semester or 90 teaching days or 15 weeks is equivalent to talking the language of 600 learning hours and minimum 20 to 22 credit, 20 to 22 credits. So this is what is the concept of National Credit Framework. I think here we will stop for 5 minutes for a tea break, and then we will continue with qualification framework and specifications and LOCF. Is it okay? Should we break for 5 minutes, sir? Trikal, sir? Yeah, sir? Is
Yes,
it
sir.
okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so exactly at 4:30 we will resume.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Meantime, if any question, please come up. Vidyarthi sir, if you have got something more to tell, please add to it also. Namaskar all. Should we start, sir? Hello. May I start, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. So let us just take a recap of our national credit framework. Now we have understood that we will be operating under various framework which will be common for all stakeholders nationally, and it is aligned with internationally. Now here we have understood what does academic year mean, and one academic year is 1200. Say for example, I consider undergraduate certificate. So first year is of level 4.5. Later on, when we will go to qualification framework, that time we will find that complete education system is divided into from level 1 to 8. While level 1 to 4 are school, for level 4 means 12th HSSC, and our higher education first year is level 4.5. And in multi-entry, multi-exam, we will find that level 4.5 is aligned with certificate. So when we say first year, another word means first 2 semester. So it will have total learning hours of 1200, minimum credits for 1200 learning will be 40, and our level is 4.5. So credit point will be 40 into 4.5, 180. So this is how the credit assignment depending upon levels is done in higher education. And now one more thing we should understand over here, credit is on only after successful assessment and demonstration of attainment of the learning outcome. So this is the fundamental principle of earning the credit. So what does it mean for us? If it is theory or tutorial or practical, generally our contact hours or engagement hours are presently divided in 3 parts, either theory or tutorial or practical or practicum or laboratory. So in this contact hours or engagement part of the learning, semester, let us consider it is of 15 weeks because standard wise, these national bodies or international alignment consider 600 learning hours and 15 weeks of learning. So for a semester of 600 learning hours and 15 weeks, if the student learns for 15 hours, that is 1 hour per week, then for theory and tutorial of 1 hour of learning per week for 15 weeks is considered to be a 1 credit course. While for practicum or practical or experiential learning, generally 30 hours of learning per 15 weeks is considered to be 1 credit course. So week-wise, 2 hours of learning for practical, practicum or experiential learning for 15 weeks of learning is considered to be 1 credit course. So when in my timetable, I engage certain theory period for 3 hours, it is considered to be 3 credit course. If I have got 1 hour tutorial, then it is 1 credit for tutorial. And if I have got 2 practical hours for my student per batch, then for that student, 2 hours of practical will be 1 credit. How this 2 hours comes into 1 credit and 3 hours comes into 3 credit? So 3 hours per week multiplied by 15, because it is a 15 week, divided by 15. So it comes to the learning hours per week for theory or tutorial as that credit course. And for practical, half of it. So 2 hours of learning per week amounts to 1 credit course, considering the semester is of 15 weeks. This is how the learning hours are converted into credit, but subject to successful assessment and demonstrating attainment of the learning outcome. So what is the another basic requirement? In our assessment or examination, we have to, you can say, assess the student based on expected learning outcome. So my question, whatever I put in my internal assessment or university, it should simultaneously be mentioned that question relates with which type of course outcome, as well as it should also tell what is the level for which I am assessing the student, because it is a level based, you can say, education pattern. So when I assess a student, two things along with only simply putting question in question paper, I should mention my question. I am ascertaining attainment of which course outcome. So my question relates to question of course outcome number 2, course outcome number 3, and what is the level. These two things, depending upon level and course outcome, I should assess the attainment of this. Now, with every, you can say, truly speaking, my every assessment should tell me what is the level of attainment by the student, because attainment and demonstrating attainment of the learning outcome only entails student to earn the credit. So henceforth, after implementing NEP, next phase will be reforms in evaluation and examination. Everything will go in direction with assessment of attainment of outcomes. This is what will be the major reform which will follow. Presently, we have converted everything in credit and we are still putting everything on marks and you can say ultimately pass or fail, something like that. But it is not expected. Attainment will be expected according to the level of minimum attainment we will have to decide. Say presently we say that 40% mark pass. Similarly, we will have to decide what is the minimum expected attainment of a class, and according to that level, we will be giving grades, and credits and grade together will result into, you can say, final assessment of the student. So this is what is expected in National Credit Framework. Now, when we talk about qualification framework, this qualification framework also, for detail, I will request everybody to please refer this document, From Concepts to Implementation, Handbook for National Qualification Framework Developers, with special reference to India. This document clearly shows that everything is coming as per international standard. If we go through this document, we will find that many meetings, many brainstorming sessions, many discussions had taken place with international experts, and then the document has come out for our country. So it is complete in alignment with global standard. That point I want to highlight. Now, it is a national document, so it is applicable to all of us. Now, this document starts from the giving explanation about the concept of qualification. It very in detail, the word qualification is described and explained in this document. Generally, whatever in traditional sense we use the word qualification, same is kept as it is. So they are the formal awards with broad discipline-free nomenclature. And these nomenclature, which are irrespective of the discipline, are certificate, diploma, bachelor's degree, master's degree, doctoral degree. So they are same type of, you can say, what we traditionally sense by the word qualification, that it is some award of certain level of achievement. So same is kept. So here also the definition of qualification is same. It is an award in discipline-free nomenclature. But it is to be awarded by competent authority. So whomsoever, if I start certain shop and I start giving some certificate courses, that will not be recognized. It is to be awarded only by competent authority. Now, presently, the competent authority are sector skill councils or universities or colleges. So important is that award has to be from competent authority to bring it into national, you can say, framework. Second attribute should be, it should be in recognition of attainment of the student of the expected learning outcome. So second attribute will be, we have to ensure that students have attained the expected learning outcome. So assessment direction should be to measure the attainment of the learning outcome. So what is the role for assessing student, evaluating student or examining student? Our focus will be to ensure that students demonstrate the attainment of learning outcome, which are already declared before. So because they are expected learning outcome. And third is successful completion of particular program. So duration, learning hours. So these three things, learning hours, its successful completion, assessment for attainment of learning outcome, and recognition by competent authority. When these three attributes are made, then that qualification will be valid qualification. Very clearly it is mentioned that they are to be awarded only after assessment or evaluation of learning levels. So we are moving towards level based. So for every assessment, level should also be mentioned along with the learning outcome. And it is had to be conducted by competent body, which our statutory regularity bodies will decide who is competent body, and it should determine achievement of the student of the expected learning outcome to the given standard. So standard has to be mentioned, expected learning outcome have to be mentioned, levels have to be mentioned, duration have to be mentioned, assessment has to be done to ensure student demonstrate, then only qualification can be awarded. Now these qualifications are aligned with credits. Now we have understood what are the credit system. So it is allowed, you can say credit system is aligned with learning hours. So learning hours, levels, that those are also aligned in the terms of, you can say qualification, and that with respect to the level of learning, the learning outcomes have to be defined. So see, when we frame the syllabus, this goes for a direction to us. I have to keep in mind, earlier we used to say that I am designing syllabus for first year, second year, third year. No. Henceforth we will say I am designing the syllabus for level 4.5, which is certificate level. I am designing the syllabus. When I say second year, I will say that I am designing the syllabus for level 5, which is diploma level. Incidentally, after certificate hence comes out after first year, that is certificate level. So first certificate, then diploma, then degree, then 4-year degree, then PG diploma, and then PG degree. So every time we have to keep in mind when I come designing of the syllabus that my syllabus I am designing for certificate level 4.5, diploma level 5, 3 years degree level 5.5, something like that. So level award which I am going, of course hours will always be 600 and 1200, 600 for one semester, 1200 for year, and depending upon the level, expected learning outcome will change as the level goes away, you higher one by one, and expected learning outcomes will be all three domains. So this is what we have to keep in mind when we say that we are implementing national qualification framework, because they signify the competence to follow any occupational practice. So for what purpose the student is learning and we are imparting, what the student will be doing when he goes to economic field, whatever occupation or profession or vocation the student will practice, we have to ensure its competency for that. Now, once we have understood the concept of qualification, which is described in much detail in this document, next is framework. Now, qualification framework. It is the way of structuring existing and new qualification defined by learning outcomes, reflecting the graduate attributes, program learning outcomes, and course learning outcome. So those statements, what are those outcomes? They are the statement. What the student will be able to know, understand, will be able to do and demonstrate on successful completion of that approved program. So all these qualifications are arranged in a well-structured way, and structuring of this qualification is known as qualification framework. So those will be based on the specifications, which are general statement, means on completion of the program of study, what the student will be able to demonstrate. And that arrangement of qualification, such as certificate, diploma, bachelor degree, master degree, and doctoral degree, they are arranged in a certain structured way. Of course, certificate will be at the bottom and doctoral will be at the top. That type of structuring is known as qualification framework. Remember, it is based on competency-based education and training and outcome-based learning. These are the two important aspects of this framework. So depending upon level, award of that qualification, maybe certificate, expected competencies will have to be defined, and for that certificate level, that competency must be demonstrated. If it comes to degree, then competencies will be different. They have to be well defined and ensure that they are attained. And competency-based education and outcome-based learning, these are the two important components of this framework. Of course, as we are right from the beginning saying, as sir was saying, it is about ASK, attitude, skill, and knowledge. But for the present discussion base, I am saying knowledge, skill, value, attitude, acquired by, possessed by individual. Let us change it to ask, attitude, skills, and knowledge. On that basis, the framework will be decided. And for us, important statement is these attributes are important than modes of acquiring them. So student may acquire these attributes online, offline, by attending the college, by doing online courses. So this NEP clearly states mode of learning is not important, but attainment of outcomes, expected learning outcome is important. So if student demonstrate that I have attained certain levels of competency, then even though student has not gone to any institute, the qualification may be awarded by competent authority. That is why 40% of courses student can learn through SWAYAM. That line comes out of this policy envision that mode of acquiring is not important. Ultimately, acquiring the attribute is important. Now, as I was saying, Indian or national qualification framework is aligned with international qualification framework. So within few minutes, we will try to understand what international qualification framework India has aligned our own qualification with, which type of international qualification framework. So Bologna process, which is European higher education area, their qualification framework, European Union countries qualification framework, India has aligned itself with Bologna process. And this framework is having descriptors, so certain statement in all these domains, and they are called as Dublin descriptors. So our qualification descriptors are based on or little bit aligned with Dublin descriptors, which are the part and parcel of European Union countries qualification framework. These Dublin descriptors or statements, they are about expected learning outcomes which are to be achieved by the student after completing the curriculum of studies, assessment, evaluation for obtaining the qualification. So you can say framework, I will not go in detail about Bologna process, or you can say Dublin descriptor, but we will be talking about our descriptors, our national qualification framework and its descriptor. But one thing we should understand that our descriptors and our framework is more aligned with European, because throughout universally the Bologna process and Dublin descriptors are more acceptable to. There are various types of descriptors. Amongst them, Dublin descriptors are generally considered to be more appropriate. Hence, our national qualification framework is aligned with that. So as I was saying, this is the journey from local to global through this qualification framework. I repeat, all of us will be operating under same qualification framework, remaining within framework, our flexibility or liberty we have to operate. But overall qualification, which is national qualification, which is aligned with international standard, Bologna process or Dublin descriptors, are also applicable to everybody in India henceforth. Now, this national qualification framework is the instrument for classification of qualifications according to a set of criteria for specified levels of learning. So level-based education, competency-based education, which will integrate and coordinate the qualification from each education and training sector into a single comprehensive qualification framework. So first and foremost thing about national qualification framework, it is the single comprehensive qualification framework coordinating and integrating all qualifications of each education and training center. So whether we are in skilling domain or whether we are in academic domain, everything will be in the form of specifications and ultimately integrated and coordinated into this single comprehensive qualification framework. What is the takeaway for us from this? That we should understand this single comprehensive qualification framework, and we should ensure that we fit, we design, we operate, we evaluate everything what we do in our system gets fitted into this framework. So let us understand this national qualification framework which is in India. Now this national qualification framework is given for both general education as well as vocational education and training. So you will find there are various qualification frameworks, national qualification framework, like National Vocational Qualification Framework. It came into existence before 2013 by Government of India in association with international labor organizations and world industries and world trade bodies. So before 2013 only NVQF came into picture. Then it was further vocational education qualification, NVEQF, later on national skills qualification framework, and taking everything in mind, finally the qualification framework which is applicable to all of us is National Higher Qualification Framework, NHEQF. You will find NHEQF is aligned with NSQF. NSQF is also earlier, they had 10 levels. They have also brought down recently to 8 levels. So NSQF and NHEQF, they both of them go hand in hand. So well coordinated and integrated framework. So we will, for us in higher education, NSQF and NHEQF for our skill component, vocational component, we have to ensure our mapping with NSQF, and for our general education component, we assure that we get mapped with NHEQF. Overall, for the engineering education or for that matter, higher education in general, NSQF and NHEQF, we will be operating under these two qualification framework. For skill component, more it will be aligned with NSQF, which is already coordinated and integrated with NHEQF. So for us, when we implement it, we will not feel any problem, because at national level, statutory level, it is ensured that qualification specifications, etc., are very well aligned depending upon the level and expected competencies. So let us slightly understand NSQF, because major component of our technical education and overall education also, there will be skill component, vocational component will be largely integrated in main. So those verticals will be aligned with NSQF. So what are NSQF? They are, you can say, the policy very clearly, vision statement says that NSQF will be detailed further for each discipline. It means NSQF was already in existence before NEP came into picture. Now, the policy statement, the vision statement of NEC clearly says that Indian standards will be aligned with international standards classification of occupation. So, alignment of national qualifications with international standard was first priority of this policy, and accordingly NSQF and NHEQF is come. Now, this framework will provide the basis for recognition of prior learning. The concept of RPL is very new to our education system. The concept of RPL is, if the student has learned beforehand, whether through formal or informal mode, it will be recognized by assessing the attributes. And even though student has not gone to any formal system, but has attained certain attributes, those will be recognized as per the level, and student can enter into higher level. What does it mean? Up to 8th standard or age of 16, 14, everybody will have to go to education, formal education, right under Right to Education Act. But after attaining the age of 14, some students do not go to formal schooling, but goes for direct working and have a experiential learning in, say, welding or motor mechanics, something like that. Its learning will be recognized and student can get direct admission in ITI or probably in Polytechnic, even going without for 9th and 10th standard into any schooling. That type of system may come when the concept of recognition of prior learning will come into picture. Through this, dropouts from formal systems will be reintegrated by aligning their practical experience with relevant level of framework. So this is what very important vision statement of NEP regarding NSQF. The credit-based framework will facilitate mobility across general and vocational education. So student with qualification in NSQF can come into NHEQF. A person with NHEQF can go into NSQF. So on 6 June 2023, the NSQF document notification has come out, and on that basis, the implementing part of NEP is best. So it is an outcome competency based framework, and it will recognize qualification according to the levels of knowledge, skill, aptitude, and responsibility defined in terms of learning outcome, which the learner must acquire important parties through formal, non-formal, or informal. So mode of learning is made less important. It can be through formal, nor formal or informal, but more important is, depending upon the level, knowledge, skill, and responsibility. If those attributes are there, then this framework will recognize that student has attained certain level and he can come to directly higher level. Now NSQF has modified. Earlier there were 10 levels. Now NSQF levels are also from level 1 to level 8. From level 1 to level 4, they are generally school level. So level 4, it's not means just a rule of thumb I am saying. Level 4 means 12th standard HSSC. And for higher education, it will be level 4.5 to level 8. While 4.5 means first year or certificate level, while level 8 means doctoral level. So each level represents different level of skill, complexity, knowledge, responsibility, and autonomy required to demonstrate the competency commensurate with that level. So what is the takeaway? The takeaway is when I say I am designing syllabus for first year, or I am delivering syllabus of first year, or I am examining the first year, I have to keep in mind that I am talking about level 4.5. It is a certificate level. So according to the statements given for qualification statement given under certificate level, read those under 5 categories. Very clear statements are given in this qualification framework. What is the expected outcome and skill expected at level 4.5, that is certificate. So mapping with those expectations, I should design my syllabus, I should impart my education, and I should assess, evaluate, and examine the student. So level-based and competency should not go out of my sight when I design, impart, or examine the student. This is the important change for we the teachers operating presently in, because we are not completely aware of this expectation, those qualification specifications. Sometimes that is, we try to put many things at first year level itself. It is expected that reduce the content, be more focused. What is expected on that basis only you try to give. And breadth and depth will go on increasing as students go from first year to second, second to third, or third to final. So as the level changes, the content, the focus, breadth, depth of that knowledge, skill, and you can say attitude should go on change. This is what we have to understand from NSQF level. So we have to understand complete nationwide, we will be operating under single compressive level, and our levels will be 4.5 to 8, and they are continuum level. They are not discrete. In higher education, 4.5 to 8. This is the NQF is the instrument for development, classification, and recognition of qualification along a continuum levels. So they are not discrete. This are, and from NSQF, finally, what is there is National Higher Education Qualification Framework, NHEQF. Again, I will request, please go through the document which is being displayed. It is available. It is a public document. On UGC, it is available. AICT, it is available. It is very clearly available everywhere. But we all stakeholders should read and understand what this qualification framework tells us, because later on, after 2-3 years, when equivalency and such things will come into picture, and at national level, suppose there is some mechanism to ascertain the level and outcome achieved attained by our student, it may happen that what we call presently diploma may come out to be certificate. What we call it as degree may come out to be diploma, because the qualification specifications, level-based competency, and level-based learning outcomes are very clearly in an unambiguous way defined. They are specified. And it is common, everybody of us have to follow those specifications, and we have to design syllabus mapping with those expectations. We have to deliver, and we have to assess accordingly. This is what is expected. So let us understand what are those descriptors or specifications. I am so many times have used the word qualification descriptors. So let us see what are those. Say, if I consider mapping of level with qualification. So level 4, see, we will be operating under level 4.5 to 8. When we say higher education, we will be operating 4.5, 5.5, 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5, and 8. 4.5, generally what we call it as first year, is now undergraduate certificate. So it is program of first year, that is. Mukesh sir, can you please mute your mic? Mukesh sir. Mukesh sir, please, can you mute yourself?
It's not my mic, sir. This is Mukesh Chavan, I think.
Acha, please ask him to mute because it disturbs us. Anyways, I will try to focus. So level 4.5 means undergraduate certificate of 2 semesters. So obviously 2 semesters mean 1200 learning hours, and 1200 learning hours means minimum 40 credits. So once a student completes, you can say 1200 learning hours and earns 40 credits, the student may be awarded with certificate, provided additional 4 exit credit skill enhancement course is given. Student may go out, so we don't want him to, but option is there. If he does not go out, he will come to level 5 after attending 1200 learning hours and 40 credits. Now, what do we mean by level 5? It means 2 years, first year and second year. So first plus second plus third plus fourth, 4 semester means 1200 plus 1200, 2400 learning hours, 40 plus 40, 80 credits. And if the student opts to go out, another 4 credit skill enhancement course or internship will be done. Now 4 credit means 120 hours, and then student will be given with diploma. So when we say diploma means level 5, it means it is to be ascertained that 2400 learning hours and 80 credits are on. Level 5.5 is 3 years degree. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6. In continuum, it goes. So similarly, it goes up to level 8, that is doctoral degree. Now, once we have understood what is level and MAP qualification, for each qualification, depending upon level, there are certain specification, descriptors, certain statements which clearly tell when we say diploma is given means what are the attributes the student have demonstrated, competent authority has assessed, and after successful assessment only, then that diploma is awarded. So those things are known as descriptors or specifications. So these qualifications levels are mapped with learning outcomes and specification with respect to that level. Now, higher qualification, higher education qualification leading to certificate, diploma, or degree are described by National Skill Qualification Framework or higher education qualification in terms of learning outcomes. Those learning outcomes are very well given by NSQF and NHEQF. Now, each level is structured based on defined learning outcome. That is the statement. What are the statements? Those statements are related to what the learner is expected to know, is expected to understand, what he is able to do after successful completion of that approved program at that specified level. The students must demonstrate the attributes defined in terms of those learning outcomes. Now that earning or demonstration can be, that acquisition can be any mode of learning, direct, in person, face-to-face, open, distance, online, hybrid, blended. So mode of learning is not important, but demonstrating the acquisition of attribute is important. Now these learning outcomes are granular milestones of learning and usually progress in sequence leading to attainment of competencies. And interim markers of learning achievements are needed so that teachers can observe and track learning and respond to the needs of learner continually. These interim markers are learning outcomes. So very clearly, what do the learning outcomes mean is specified in this instrument of NHEQF. Now these descriptors will be in again three domains. We have understood education means three domains. As sir has said, it will be ASK, affective domain, skill domain, and knowledge domain. So those descriptors, those statements, depending upon the level, are very clearly specified in this NHEQF document. So what level of, you can say, attitude is expected in certificate, what level of behavior is expected in degree level, or what level is expected in postgraduate. Similarly, what level of skill is expected in certificate, diploma, or degree. Similarly, what level, depth, breadth of knowledge and understanding of that specific area is required depending upon certificate, diploma, or degree. So those specifications are given. Now, those are given in terms of five, you can say, parts. Now, they are in alignment with Bologna process or Dublin descriptor. Dublin descriptor had also given on 5 areas. Indian NSQF and NHEQF, National Hour Qualification Framework, also have given in 5 areas. Those areas are process, professional knowledge, depending upon level, to what extent that professional knowledge is expected, professional skills, core skills, aptitude, mindset, soft skills, employment readiness, entrepreneurship skills, and level of responsibility. So with every level, with every structure from certificate to doctorate, the expectation, what level, at that level, what responsibility the graduate or award holder should tell, those are specified. Now, as this framework represents increasing level of complexity in terms of knowledge, competency, and autonomy that must be demonstrated by learner. Now, first parameter, it is a general summary of other 4 domains. We will see the specification. Second, professional knowledge. This talks about what a learner should know and understand with reference to the subject or field of knowledge. It is described in terms of depth, breadth, kinds of knowledge, and complexity. Friends, this is very important when we frame the syllabus. If I am framing it for certificate level, that is first year, or level 4.5, I should keep in mind the descriptor given. Now, just we will discuss it within 2 minutes. So our first year syllabus should only attach or get aligned with expected depth, breadth, and kind of knowledge. If we go to diploma, second level, level 5, you will find that depth and breadth increases. If it goes to 4th year of the program, you will find it becomes quite deep. So our syllabus content, when we design the syllabus, it should get aligned with the specifications given in this document. And when we impart, that time also, if I am teaching some subject of second year and similar subject in final year, I should clearly understand for second year, it is level 5, it is diploma level, depth, breadth, kind of knowledge and complexity is relatively different than expected in when it is 4th year degree program. So this is what the statement we should understand, and accordingly we should adopt. That is the meaning of implementation of NEP. Depth of knowledge can be general or specified. Breadth can range from single topic to multidisciplinary. Kind of knowledge can be concrete to abstract. Complexity refers to combination of kind, depth, breadth of knowledge. So with each level, you will find the statement shows the different expected specifications. When it talks about professional skills, that is psychomotor skill domain, here what a learner should be able to do, that has very clearly specified, and that should be reflected in our syllabus framing also. That is cognitive and creative skills involving use of intuitive, logical, critical thinking. Communication skill involving written, oral, literacy, numeracy skills. Interpersonal skills and generic skills that a learner should possess to perform a task or job competently, productively, and independently, and also part of it. Fourth is core skills. That is basic skills involving dexterity, use of method, material, tool, instrument used for performing the job, including IT skills needed for a given level of study and work. Friend, here, everywhere we have to keep the job role, the work role, what the student will be expected to perform according to the level where my student will be placed after graduating from me. Those keeping that those skills will be imparted and they should be very clearly specified in words. Most important is whatever outcomes we are expecting, they have to be expressed in words. They should not be only very generic statement. They should be very specific statement. Then next is affective domain. As sir was saying, most important behavioral domain. So attitude domain. So this tells us you can responsibility that the learner can be entrusted with on their own. That is degree of supervision needed when doing a job. Degree of supervision person is capable of exercising over our others also, depending upon the level. Say if it is a certificate level, he may become a supervisor. But if it is a degree, then he may become a manager level. So the expectation of his behavior as a supervisor after going 4.5 level or certificate and expected as a manager, he is a degree holder. They are different and they are very clearly specified. We will see those specifications soon. It determines the nature of working relationship, level of responsibility for self and others, managing the change and accountability of action. So in, say for example, as per NSQF level skill part of our, you can say education, if I say my student is of level 4.5, that is first year, or it is a certificate level, what is expected in knowledge domain? That knowledge of fact, principle, processes, concepts in the field or study, field of work. See, always you will find we have to keep in mind where my student, say my student is in first year. After graduation, he may go to postgraduate, or he may go to research, or he may go to, suppose he is from chemical engineering, he may go to pharmaceutical industry, he may go to other chemical industry. So what are possible work roles we have to keep in mind? And if a student after attaining certificate only goes out, so what level the student will be doing when he is in profession? So that I have to keep in mind, and accordingly, I have to set syllabus, deliver the syllabus related to fact, principle, processes, and concept. Cognitive and practical skills, what is expected at, you can say certificate level or supervisory, a student after going out, he at the most will become supervisor or skilled person. So there it is expected that the student should be able to complete the task assigned, solve problem by selecting and applying basic methods, basic tools, basic materials and information given to him. So if those things are given, students should be consistently and continually able to do the task. So to that extent is expected in first year or level 4.5. What is the mathematical skill expected? It is collecting and organizing information and communication. See, I am talking about general education component. Still NSQF, it may not, for engineering student, mathematical skills may be higher because they may be later on go for designing the thing. Now, work, what is expected on professional skills? Work at level 4.5, that is certificate level. What is expected? That student will be able to do work in a familiar situation, but also where problems may arise. The job holder will be able to make choices about the best procedure. So selection of the student should know various procedure and he should be able to select the best amongst given procedures to adopt to address the problem where choices are clear. See, this is the expectation from first year. So when we conduct practical or practicums or lab experiment, we have to skill him in this consistently and continually and with proficiently. He should be able to follow the procedure given to him repeatedly anytime in new situation also. Now, as about responsibility, the the certificate holder should be responsible for completion of their own work and expected to learn and improve. See, they are responsible for their own work. But if it is degree holder, manager, they will be responsible for complete teamwork. So that is the different type of education we have to give of for level 4.5, that is first year, or for third year. They will require well-developed practical and cognitive skill to complete their work. They will have some responsibility of others' work and learning. And generally, certificate holders may be described as fully skilled worker or supervisor. So job role of a supervisor should be kept in mind when we design the syllabus for first year, when we deliver the syllabus, or when we assess. This is what is expected in level 4.5, that is first year. When the student comes to second year, now what we call is second year, NSQF and NHQF calls it as level 5, or we call it as a diploma level. So what is on knowledge? Now their theoretical and factual knowledge should be in broader concept. Now there they will be expected skill part of it to find solution to specific problem in the field of study or work. So to impart those qualities, our second year syllabus should be there. Mathematical calculus and logical communication. Now specialized technical skills start coming into diploma holder. Clarity of knowledge, awareness of standard and non-standard practices. Then those who employed get, suppose they leave after second year or level 5 or getting diploma, they are expected to carry out jobs to communicate clearly in speech, writing, and even IT skill, apply mathematics to some their workplaces. They should be able to collect and organize information and communication. They should be able to solve problem by selecting and applying methods, tools. Now it will not be only selected methods. They should be able to learn new methods also, and they should be able to select and apply those. And they are expected to have previous knowledge of skills. Now they are one level up. So they are above supervisor. So it is expected that during their first year, they have get sufficient exposure that the knowledge requirement skill at a certificate level, as a supervisory level, whatever is expected, that they are aware with. Then only they can supervise those who are already supervisor. They are one step ahead. Then they will be expected to understand what constitutes quality in the occupation. They should be able to distinguish between good, bad qualities. You will find that they are, you can say, canvas get on increasing. Now, when we come to level 5.5, that is 3 years degree, the word command and proficiency start coming. So our third year syllabus should ensure that students get command and proficiency on this specialized theoretical and practical skills. So whatever are their major subject or minor subject, other subject you will find it will go, amount will get reduced. Other subject will be during first year, to some extent in second year, but in third year, they will have more focus on their specialized subject. And according to this level, the expectation in terms of all the 5 types means professional knowledge, professional skill, generic skills, behavioral skill. This is what is expected. So these statements are very clearly given for level 4.5, level 5, level 5.5. Say, for example, here it will be expected that they will have broad factual and theoretical knowledge applying to practice within the occupation and a range of practical and cognitive skills. They should be able to generate solutions to problems. So they are more problem solver. They are more critical thinker. They are able to have more analysis of the situation, and they are more solution providers. Their job is mainly to provide the solutions and to attend the problem. So this is what is generally expected in NSQF. Now you will find similarly, same thing are expected in NHEQF also. Now, if I have taken, suppose the domain of knowledge and understanding given. Now description for undergraduate certificate level, that is level 4.5, diploma level, level 5, and degree 3-year degree level, level 5.5. Similarly, for level 6 is all given, 6.5 given, 7 given, 8 given. For every level, these specifications or statements are given in NHEQF. Now, these specifications is the framework which is common for everybody nationally, and it is aligned with international parameters also. So what is the takeaway for us? Takeaway for us, whether we are located in SGBAU or Mumbai or Delhi, anywhere, we have to ensure that when we design our first year syllabus, level 4.5 syllabus or certificate level syllabus, we have to ensure what is expected in NHEQF is that the graduate should be able to demonstrate the acquisition. Now, demonstration of these attributes should be reflected in assessment and evaluation. What is expected? That understanding of linkage between learning areas within and across the chosen field of study. If the student goes to higher level, level 5, that is diploma level, deeper knowledge and understanding. Earlier, it was not deeper in first year, but now when he goes to second year, our syllabus and exam should be such that the student demonstrate acquisition of deeper knowledge and understanding of one of the learning areas. So here major minor comes into picture. So first year, various levels, interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, 3-4 subjects a student is learning, and he is able to understand linkage between various. Now he has chosen one specific area. So there in second year or diploma level or level 5, the student will be expected to go into deeper of that knowledge and understanding of one of the learning areas. And when it comes to third year, that is level 5.5, knowledge of current and emerging issues also along with development. See, this is how the breadth and depth of that knowledge goes on increasing for a specific. Now, these are the statement and specification very clearly given by NHEQF and NSQF. Our role is to ensure, to show that our syllabus of first year is different than second year, is different than third year in this matter. We have to ensure that our first year shows the general understanding of various sources and interlinkage. In second year, deeper into one of the area, what we call it as major. When it comes to third year, now it is more broader as well as more deep as far as knowledge part is concerned. Second domain, skilling doing, similarly you will find in case of second domain of skilling and doing, which is application of knowledge and skill, depending upon the levels, the graduates should be able to demonstrate the acquisition. Suppose certificate level, level 4.5, first year what we call, during those 1200 learning hours and earning credit from skill domain, what is expected? That student will be able to select and use the basic methods, tools, material and information related to chosen field of learning. This is what is expected, that student is comfortable repeatedly and many times he is able to follow the instruction. He is quite expert in terms of acquiring the skills for applying to a given problem with given basic tools and methods. While he comes to second year, that time cognitive and practical skills, specialized as well as theoretical knowledge, and he should be able to generate quantitative as well as qualitative data. Earlier only practice, दिया हुआ काम बहुत अच्छे से करता है, नए मटेरियल के साथ भी करता है, नई टेक्निक दी वो भी अच्छे से कर सकता है. But now when he is a diploma holder, his arena get increased. And when he comes to third year, data to assess the appropriateness of different approaches in solving the problem. Now optimization, there are different ways of solving same problem. He should be able to analyze, critical think, compare, and come out with the best, most optimum approach to solve the problem. So employing the right approach amongst various approaches to generate solutions related to problem of chosen field or allied field. So this is how the skill requirement also changes, and these statements are very, very clearly given in NHEQF and NSQF. I repeat, our job is when I design first year syllabus, I should very clearly first write that it is my level 4.5 certificate level course, and on this five, you can say classification, these are expected things from for level certificate level 4.5 level. And once I am very clear focused on expected specification, I ensure that my courses and content of those courses relate with expected specification only. I should restrain myself for putting unnecessary heavy things in certificate level and putting very, very loose things at degree level, that is third year and fourth year level. Because whatever I put, I write as learning outcome will ultimately be mapped and verified with given national level specification. Later on, mapping of our learning outcome, our content, our specification will be done with national level specifications, and there may be certain corrective measures from statutory bodies. When NHERA or some regularity authority will come, probably they will go through every syllabus and will ensure that mapping whether has been done or not. If unnecessary heavy things are put in first year, they will ask us to correct. And if in final year, very, you can say basic or primary things are kept, they will say that no, it is of certificate level, it is not of degree level. So all these specifications should be very clearly kept in mind. I will not read it. Employment ready skills, entrepreneur skills, all five domains, behavioral domain, responsibility level domain. Then say for example, we are employment ready or entrepreneur skill mindset, ability to exercise responsibility for completion of assigned tasks, certificate level, supervise the routine work of others, diploma level is a manager, and exercise management and supervision in context of work involving unpredictable work processes for degree level. So we have to ensure that our curriculum maps with this requirement, our teaching process maps with this requirement, means our facilitation process I will call, and our assessment and evaluation examination ensures that when we say that we are giving degree, we are promising that all our students have demonstrated the attainment of this thing. Now, in our affirmative domain, that is constitutional, humanistic, and moral values also, you will find for certificate level, the student is expected to put forward the convincing argument to respond to the ethical moral issues. So here expected is he responses to whatever stimuli is given. So generally, value system, culture may be given by top management. The student who goes out with certificate, who is supervisory level, level 4.5, he has to positively respond to those stimuli. While if we come to degree level, who is a manager or senior manager, he will be able to follow the ethical practices. He will have to say in research also, development also, then he will have to generate the policy. He will have to identify. So critical analysis, you can say creativity and high level of, you can say, ethics value system, because he will develop the culture in the organization. That will be the responsibility with the third year passing out student with reference to first year passing out student. Now, fabrication, falsification, misrepresentation of data or plagiarism. Now, up till now, these terms we used to listen only for PhD or project people, masters or PhD. Now, whether the student is first year or second year, if regular practicals or some in project work, if we observe fabrication, falsification, or misrepresentation of data, we have to correct the student then and there itself. If assignments are only copied, one student writes it, other copies it and submit, and we evaluate. Probably now change will be there. We will have to tell student now plagiarism is not only for PhD, even it is for single experiment which you perform. Let your result whatever come, we won't mind. But fabrication, falsification, misimpresentation will be very severely dealt with. As sir was very rightly saying, attitude, behavior will be more important than skill and knowledge. This is very clearly given in this descriptor. So this has to be part of our system. So if we ourselves start giving marks for copy of assignment, somebody writes and others copy, we evaluate and give mark. The correction will be required from our end itself, because tomorrow we will be accountable for instilling not good ethical practices in the minds of the student in culture, cultural event, in sports event, even during election, everywhere we will have to follow and make rubrics of observing the student and giving points and thereafter marks. That is why I was saying next phase of NEP will be complete evaluation reform, examination reform. These are the statements very clearly for all three domains. So NHEQF or NSEQF, finally, they talk about levels, they talk about award of qualifications from certificate to degree, and they give specifications or statements or descriptions for each level, for each type. There are 5 types, as we have seen: professional knowledge, professional skill, general skills, then responsibility, values. So on those 5 domains, based on cognitive skill and behavior, very clear specifications or statements are given. And those are the guiding point, those are the mandatory framework for of us. We have to design syllabi, impart curriculum, and examine the student remaining within that framework given as discussed earlier. So levels are clear, awards are clear, qualification specifications are given. Now, since it is a multidisciplinary education, the verticals of curriculum, now let us come to curriculum framework. Within 10 minutes, we will finish. 5-10 minutes we will keep for interaction, or we will conclude. Now, as we know, all of us, that major, minor, Indian knowledge system, generic, internship, so field-based learning. So you will find that experiential learning is important. Now you will find why vocational and skill enhancement course, because it is an integration of vocational education with academic education. Why major, minor? Because it is expected that from level 5, student will focus on certain chosen area of learning, and he will go more deep into that area of learning with certain exposure to second part, which is every student will learn from 2 aspects. One for career and other from interest or passion. So provision is there. Student can go for his profession or vocation learning as well as for interest and passion. That is why a student of engineering tomorrow will be expected or can take some subject in music also. So this is how the you can say multidisciplinary nature is brought. Integration of vocational education is done by putting vocational and skill enhancement course as one of the vertical in curriculum. Experiential learning is given very great emphasis That is through field-based learning, project-based learning, internship learning. Then social outreach is given another weightage. That is why you can say there is nothing like extracurricular, everything is co-curricular. So community engagement, social outreach, that is also given, and every component, every vertical is provided with credits. And we know when we talk about credit, it is about learning hours, it is about attainment of learning outcome, it is about assessment. So even NSS, UBA, cultural, sports, we will have to design rubrics for assessment because we will be providing credit for participation and excelling in any of the cultural, sports, or social outreach program, students' participation. But for that, only participation and giving credit will not suffice. We will have to write down what are the learning outcomes of NSS, what are the learning outcomes when students participate in cultural or sports, and we will have to devise, you can say, evaluation rubrics, and according to the rubrics we will have to provide some point which will ultimately get converted into credit and grade, and credit and grade will get converted into graded grade point. So evaluation reforms will be next step. Immediately you will find that within year or so, lot of work will start on evaluation because it is demonstrating the attainment of the outcome is the base of everything. So level based, that learning outcome, and students have demonstrated that yes, those outcomes they have attained, then only credits have to be given. So that link is something which is totally, means you can say not explode yet, but next offering in NEP implementation will be that part. So ability enhancement courses are there. Value ethics, life skills education courses are there. UGC has come out with wonderful life skill education courses. Jivan Kaushalya 2.0. Then open elective, generic electives, they are for, you can say, out of passion, out of interest. So other than the faculty, suppose student is from engineering or science, he cannot take a course of science or engineering or open elective. He necessarily has to take the course from humanities or commerce management or interdisciplinary faculty. Then, as I was telling, the mode of learning is not important. That is why MOOC learning is considered, open source learning is considered acceptable. Swayam, it is stated that student can earn up to 40% of the credit through open source MOOC. Presently, they have identified MOOC, but tomorrow Coursera and other also, if they are permitted, we do not know. Maharashtra is coming out with Mahaswayam. So probably everything, it will be so open. And there is nothing like extracurricular. Everything is now co-curricular because credits can be earned from anywhere where learning happens. So the word extra has gone. Everything is co-curricular. And finally, our outcome-based curriculum framework, after understanding credit framework and qualification framework and verticals of, you can say, NEP, our curriculum will look like this. First and foremost should be graduate attributes, that is program outcome. We know that NBA and NAC, they have given earlier 12 outcomes were there. Now they have reduced it to 11. So 11 program outcomes should be kept on the first page. And you will find those 11, 12 POs or graduate attributes can be classified only in 3 domains. Either they belong to behavioral domain, or they belong to skill domain, or they belong to knowledge domain. So they are expecting, now this is universally, it is alignment with global standard. So POs are given by either NAC or by NBA or by UGC. So we have to take those same POs and tune it to our programming. This is what is the only thing. So it is ready-made given. Now next is PLO or you can say PO. So something within 3-4 years, what we are expected to do. Just parallelly, I can say it's something like missions. We have to write PO in PLO. What the student will be doing, 3-4 PLOs we will have to give regarding our own specific program. And here you will find those PLO deals with what the student will be doing after graduating from us when they are in job role. So NEP expects that prepare student for their future job role. So we have to identify what are the areas where our student can go. Our student can go to research, our student can go to some typical industries, student can go to some commerce and trade, student can go to some NGO-like activity. So for what are the possibilities, potential, where students will be going, and according to that, their job roles we have to write, and those are our PLOs, and we have to design syllabi to map with expected program learning outcome. And then it will come to CLO for to attend POs and PLOs. What type of courses are required, and each course, what we are expected student to learn. Now they will be again on 3 domains. Either it will be on, you can say, knowledge domain, it can be on skill domain, it can be on value ethics disposition domain, but depending upon the level, the Bloom's taxonomy should be kept in mind. Our CO should have minimum words, like student will be able to memorize something. That is not the aim of higher education. So our minimum question should be define, explain, because if we ask question in examination, define something, it means it maps with the memory. So memorizing, that is the lowest domain of knowledge. So explain, describe, define, those words should be minimum used, and that is not expected, minimum expectation. Minimum it should start from applied, design, and last domain, synthesizing, etc., creating, those will be the part of project. So for our question paper, generally from second level, that is understanding, applying, finding solution, critical thinking, our question paper should base on those verbs which can map with knowledge domain from level 2 to higher. But top 2 levels, that is, you can say synthesizing new things, that should be the part of generally project. So this is how whole syllabus will look like, and in this format we are expected to give it. So generally curriculum, just very roughly, we can say that name of the UG program, whether it is monodiscipline, say BSc in chemistry or BA in history, so it is monodiscipline, or whether it is multidisciplinary, say science discipline with one of chemistry as one of the subject, or history is one of the subject, and it becomes multidisciplinary. If it is BA history means monodiscipline or interdiscipline, where you can say that mechatronics, something like that, those are interdisciplinary. Then second thing, we should state the program outcome or graduate attribute. So 11 those attributes just use for our own program. Then write down program learning outcomes 2 or 3, then programs or specific outcome. Then for each of the course, write CO, and then write syllabus and references, etc. So I tried to cover, you can say, the bird's eye view. The topic is really speaking very vast, but I know you people already know many of the things. So for you, probably it may not be very new, but I just tried to orient the NEP policy and ultimately coming to our delivery depending upon NHEQF and NSQF. So our expected learning outcomes were to know about evolution of this NEP policy, to understand pillars of NEP, to understand concept of education, types of education, and domains of education, expected or envisioned in this policy. Then we have tried to understand what are various frameworks under which we are operating. So we tried to say something about important credit framework. We tried to talk about national skill qualification framework, national higher education qualification framework, and finally about learning outcome based curriculum framework, which is the base of outcome based education. So probably from delivery point of view, I tried to cover what was our learning outcome. I hope if it is you people who can tell whether attainment has done or not, but I express my sincere thanks to all learned audience. I really enjoyed today's session because all experts, those who already know all these things, it was sort of my test to present before you. So sincere thanks to you. My sincere thanks to my friend Ankit. He ensures that things go smoothly. My sincere thanks to Dr. Atik sir, our registrar, our pro vice chancellor, our vice chancellor. Finally, I pay tributes to Gajanan Maharaj as well as Gadge Maharaj. From my side, I stop. Let us keep 5 minutes if questions any or interaction. Otherwise, from my side, I put the case down as the lawyer say. Thank you very much.
Sir, may I?
Yes, sir, sure.
Sir, your presentation and description has been really very, very exhaustive. You have covered each and every aspect as it comes from the NEP 2020 straightway, and have put it in very lucid manner. We enjoyed listening to you and noted many things. One thing which caught my attraction, and I would like to have some discussion with you on is RPL you mentioned.
Yes.
Recognition of prior learning or pro learning.
Yes.
You know, all the while you were making presentation, I was thinking, how can this be introduced in the management course? So I had number of examples in my mind that students can work in malls if they are opting for marketing and sales specialization.
Right.
They can work with the brokers or work with the insurance agents or work with the chartered accountants if they have opted, let us say, finance specialization, or they can work with some warehouses if they have opted for supply chain management or logistics management. So that can give them what you mentioned as the RPL, recognition of pro learning or prior learning, which they will learn there and they will be master. I am sure if they are sincerely there, probably they may be paid for also for about 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, depending upon the availability of time. My question there is then, how can it be accommodated in the university system of the attendance structure?
Sir, now first thing, let us understand mode of learning will be redundant henceforth.
Yeah,
now,
you have mentioned, you have already mentioned that.
So now a student has done, suppose, chartered accountancy, some level of examination he has passed, or professional bodies examination, maybe institution of engineer conduct certain examination, or chartered accountant association conduct certain examination, or skill sector council has conducted certain examinations, and government of India, UGC and other statutory bodies have recognized those bodies as level setting or level attainment measurement bodies. Imagine that situation. Now, once a person comes with certificate of completing certain diploma or certain number of learning hours or credits, and he comes with the formal university system now. Now he has learned something on the job. He has appeared for the examination of professional bodies, and he comes to the formal education system like university, saying that now I want to do, say, higher. Suppose now I want to directly come to final year MBA to take degree from MBA. Now two things will happen. Recognition of those institutions as a competent body by the statutory and regulatory authorities are there, then their examination and its level of examination will be officially declared at what level of learning they have earned. Suppose it states that student has already earned level 5 through that, even though he has not done any formal course of BCom in any institution. Now, once it is recognized as level 5, then he can come directly to first year of post-graduation, that is level 5.5. What university can at the most say that there are certain prerequisite courses. You have learned this much, so I admit you, but before we give you our level 5.5 or level 6 certification, complete additional so many credit courses from us or from book, and then you will be, along with 40 credits of 1 year, you will have to earn another 10-12 credits from this topics, and then you will be liable. This is how it will get integrated. Sir, let me tell you, even 8th standard student will be able to enter to first year of university system without going through 9, 10, 11, 12. That is also possible when we say that recognition of prior. If you go to, sir, NCBT, they have given the levels. How 8th standard can enter up to level 4.5. It is level 3, suppose 8th standard is level 3. In experiential learning, by doing certain at auto workshop or welding workshop he has done, now he will be tested for his competency in the field of welding. He can directly go to the final year of ITI. In final year of ITI, he will earn, suppose, level 3.5. He can come directly to standard 11. Or if he further excels there itself, he can come to diploma. After doing diploma, he can come to direct second year of engineering, provided there will be certain component. Now, he will not be able to do general B in mechanical engineering with this, but definitely be in welding technology or welding in automobile maintenance. Such type of qualification the student will be able to earn, even though the student has not gone through formal learning. In case of BCom or MCom, there will be, suppose BFSI council is there. A student takes credit because it will be academic bank of credit, no sir. So all credits from wherever he earns, those will get deposited, and those credits the student will be able to utilize for getting degree or diploma or postgraduate degree. Only level will matter. Those credits should be corresponding to that particular level. Suppose a student earns credit, but they are of level 4.5. Then he cannot claim those credits for 5.5. Those credits he can claim only for level 5. So for claiming 5.5, he has to earn credit in informal mode at level 5 only. So level will be equally important, along with, and some competent body, maybe chartered accountant or maybe any professional, IST, maybe institution of engineers, such professional, maybe sector skill councils, those will be made competent body to examine and issue the certificates. And prerequisite courses will always be there, even though student will be admitted directly in second year of MBA. But suppose the level of 5.5 is achieved and MBA degree is 6 level. Yes, student may come directly, he has done BCom. Without doing MBA first year, he is coming to second year of MBA. And that first year equivalency he has earned through informal or non-formal mode by working with, say, share market or with a chartered accountant, something like that. But some prerequisite course will have, that student will have to do maybe through open or through formal institution, but he can directly come to level 5, level 6.5, second year of MBA. This is what system will come.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ankit, should we stop? I think Ankit is not there.
Sir,
Yeah, sir.
one more
Yes.
thing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, what sir has suggested, ASK, that is attitude, skill, and knowledge.
Yes.
My suggestion is one more A should be added before A, and that should be the appearance of student or personality of student, personality development of student.
Sir, that is already included, sir. If you see the A part of it,
that also.
yeah, A is not only attitude. That affinitive domain, it's a affinitive domain. And that affinitive domain takes care of what you have said, value, ethics, soft skill, everything is covered in that personality.
One more thing is fitness.
Yes, yes, sir.
Physical fitness, appearance,
Yes, sir.
personality development, and fitness.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If you go through that canvas of each of the domain, you will find it is taken care of. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So I think if you all permit, should we stop?
Thank you, sir, once again on behalf of SHGMC. Really,
sir.
you have given insight to the NEP, to our all the faculty members. Let me thanks to you. I was listening to you from the beginning. Really, I have gone through the document, but listening to you, it was giving the new insight to me. And while going for the autonomy, it will play a very important role. And it will give the, once again, the correct structure to the autonomy also. Thank you, sir, once again. On behalf of
Thank
management
you very much. I really enjoyed with you people. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Let me thanks to Dr. Atik and their team for the support. Thank you. Good day.
Right. Okay, sir.
सब तो निकल ही गया. Hello, sir. Hello. Hello, sir. Hello. 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 Hello.